come to E, and E is what God adds. Well, what does he add here? His self. That's what the crucifixion was about, really. Nothing to do with payment for sin and sacrifice and atonement and blood and none of that. I'll have none of that. Gives his love, the devotion of the most infinite person of all being, gives his love and life. All life is from him. All that is created is from him. This is my trust, and I will hold none other. By his grace and loving kindness and tolerance and goodness and blessing and life, fullness of life. Thou art my God, and I will praise thee. Thou art my God, I will exalt thee. For he is good, and his goodness endureth forever. Thou art my God, and I will praise thee. Thou art my God, I will exalt thee. Oh, give thanks unto the Lord, for he is good, and his mercy endureth forever. What shall we say then? Was the Pauline thing here? Should we sin that grace may abound? God forbid. It's St. Paul thinking aloud, isn't it? Well, well, well. I think, does it matter what I think? Forget it. Yes, it does matter what we think. My goodness, does it matter? Our thoughts are a joy to him. And as our values come in line with his, wow, our thoughts are even a joy to us. Do we know God? Well, we know him as Heavenly Dad from the Jesus story. Taste and see. See if you find that's enough. I think you'll be overwhelmed with more than enough. Joy, joy unspeakable, full of glory, standing in thy presence, O Lord. If you could take in, dear one, for a moment, as a reality, the presence of God with you, I think you would experience something that so many of the near-death experience people talk about. The overwhelming presence of love quite vanquishes you. It's as if you just melt into the glory of it all, like full worship, but infinitely more. If there should suddenly arise within the skies sunbeams of 1,000 suns, undeemed of, then might that Holy One's majesty and love be dreamed of. Love you, Heavenly Dad. Oh, that was from the Bhagavad Gita, of course. Sir Edwin Arnold's poetic version called The Song Celestial. This is my song. Wow. You need to sing, dearest one. You need to sing. I remember, and I've referred to it before, in Southend, bouncing down the cliff were two young girls. I was only a young man. One's attracted to two young girls, you understand, as a young man. But what attracted me was something different. They were full of joy. They were dancing and singing. Now, cynic would say, oh yes, well it's Southend on Sea. I expect they were drugged, but it was early days for drugs, and typically the kids didn't take it during the day too much, and they didn't look like druggies to me. I don't know as they were Christian, because I didn't have a comprehension of such then. But I did notice their joy, and I suppose I thought to myself, I love that joy. It's such a contrast to how people are normally. That joy is lovely. Wow. I don't mean I went across the road to talk to them. I just an onlooker. But their joy affected me. I can still remember. Not just because they were young girls, but partly, no doubt. As I say, I was a young man. Gosh, seeking a partner was everything for me then. It's a great trouble in youth, isn't it? The need for a partner. Perhaps not everyone feels this, but I did. And by the grace and the love of God, wow, I had Linda. Gosh, I was in love with Linda. And she asked me out. Wow. Wow, did I act cool, but my goodness, was I on cloud 9. Just to have been with her, I could kick through the leaves. It wasn't autumn though, was it? Oh yes, it was. It was a late summer, wasn't it? Kick through the leaves after college. Not far from where my gran lived. My dad's mum. She was good to me. I could always go to her after college, have a cup of tea and a biscuit. Dear one, don't forget your tiny acts of kindness. They're the kindness of God to his children through you. You're such a blessing, dear one. Don't ever belittle your loving contribution by the grace and the love of God in you. We are the children of God, and we know him we have life eternal. Wow. And we want all his children to have life eternal. And suddenly it's not a case of ego or humility or anything like that. We're on mission. We're out to rescue. What can I do for my grandson? How can I help? How can I be a blessing? Wow. You're an angel, darling. You're an angel. And you don't know it. But our Heavenly Dad knows it. And so do I. Bless you. Thank you, Heavenly Dad. My goodness, is this one of the best of my recordings? I'll throw all humility to the wind. The sheer joy of seeing what God's had me record. Do you know, I've become the person I wanted to be in my childhood. I used to think there are. I was thinking actually older men too, in the world that simply wanted to help the younger, or wanted to help anyone, any family or mum in need, and would come to their help. Just natural benefactors. I don't know if Mum gave me the impression such existed. I don't know. But I knew I wanted to become it. In fact, I could see it in my mind. I could visualize myself as an older man, dressed a bit like Dad when he's informal, not his office gear, that frightened me to death in black, but his sort of tweed jacket and tie and possibly a sleeveless jumper underneath the jacket, shirt. The older man who's just comfortable and the ideal, well, not quite granddad, not even that old, just for argument's sake in their 50s, which probably was what Dad was to me then, because he was an older dad. He was 10 years older than Mum, and Mum had me at nearly 30, 29 years old she was. And I could sort of visualize myself in the future as becoming a benefactor, a benevolent person, an older, capable man, always there to help. Very much part of society, in fact, not the rebel. And I suppose in some ways I often appear as this because I'm appallingly English in, well, what you might see as almost a Victorian way now. I picked that up from Dad, didn't I? I don't mean I treasured the Victorian ethics by any means. I didn't seem to care about their poor at all. But I knew I would. And it's so, not in the way that I imagined. I don't wear tweed jackets. Quite like jackets, but they don't like formality in the modern world, especially New Zealand. I do wear a tie on and off, even now, but I know it's not quite what Kiwis appreciate. But somehow, it's me. Yeah, well, I'm a nonconformist in a way. But I had this notion of what I've become at heart, I think, well, looking at this recording anyway. My goodness. Thank you, Dad. I actually mean Heavenly Dad, but, well, we learn from the parents we've experienced, don't we? My dad, my earthly dad, was like that too, you know. He gave his things away. He lived sparingly. You know, 2 pairs of shoes, 2 jackets, 2 coats, but not more, you know. If he had more, he gave his old one away. You could say, well, it wasn't of much value, but he wasn't going to waste it, and they're in need. A sort of Victorian caring. It's hard to explain, really, because to the modern world it seemed not really caring at all. And of course Mum dismissed him accordingly. But I didn't. Possibly because he's my dad. Well, he was then. I've been reconciled to my dad in the latter years. Well, this year, in fact. Found a photo of him and Mum somewhere around the time of my birth, might be just before. Well, he loves her. It's written all over him. I can see the softness in his face. And I love that man. How incredible. I spent such a chunk of my childhood frightened of him and, you would say, hating him. But God has rescued me from my childish view. I don't mean he was a saint. Don't get me wrong. He was a child like you and me. There is a philosophy that says we do the best we can. It's a very kind and gracious philosophy. Be careful though, loved one, dear one. There are what perhaps we call narcissists. People that are actually at times purposed to do harm. Be aware, dear one. Be cautious. As wise as serpents, as the scripture says. As harmless as doves. And I think it's Jesus again. You could find it if you want. Oh, it's 18 minutes. I must stop. Thank you, Heavenly Dad.